Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back to 25 days of design. And today I wanted to talk about image composition and where you place your subjects in a frame and designing your images to be beautiful, just like your business. I am Julia Kelleher, and I am so happy to be here today. We are, of course, in the middle, smack dab in the middle of 25 Days of Design, where I go live every day to talk about something in terms of making your business beautiful. I firmly believe that your business attracts who it's meant to attract, or it's designed to attract, I should say. And that one of our jobs as visual artists is to keep it looking beautiful at all times. And that's what helps us attract the type of client that we want. Being a beautiful business matters, as one of my good friends has said. So, Amy, welcome. I am so glad you're here. She said, "Oh my gosh, comp scary." But walking through it with people has been so nice. Image composition is one of those things that's actually a lot of fun once you start understanding it. And it's really exciting when you start to use it to convey meaning and story in your images, particularly for competition images. And I know Amy just went through her first competition and got herself an award. Yay! You guys have to forgive me for my very casual appearance today. I've been on the phone all morning, and so this is like bedhead, lake hair, don't care. So anyway, Jamie, good morning, my friend. How are you? Jamie Swords with us. Love that you're here, my dear. And if you are here, go ahead and tell me where you're from. Give me a little comment, a thumbs up where you're tuning in from. I always love seeing that. And Allison, hey Julia, welcome, welcome. I love that I can pop everybody's comments up on the screen here. It's kind of nice. I mean, it's good to read it instead of having to listen to it or scroll through the thing. Anyway, okay, so let's. Jamie says, "I love your hair." Thanks, hun. This is like rat's nest. Just a side note, funny story. So it's totally a rat's nest today, but funny story. So in television news, like I would go on live every day to forecast the weather and anchor the morning news. And one time I got off the air and I went back to, my computer, and I had received an email from a viewer, and she goes, "Your hair looks like a rat's nest." I'm like, thanks. Thanks so much. Like, that's really kind of you. And that's all you got out of my broadcast? Great. That makes me so happy. Beth is on board. Hello, darling Beth. She says she has internet today, so it makes her very excited. Christina, she says, "Hi there. You look beautiful as always." Thank you. You know what? And I'm saying hello to you guys. Hello, beautiful, because I really do believe everyone here is beautiful, and you're all capable of making your businesses beautiful. And that's half the fun of being an entrepreneur, is to make it gorgeous. Okay, let's talk about composition today. I'm going to share my screen and show you what I have been working on. This is some of my competition prints, so it's kind of fun to see a different side of me, and what I've been working on for the last few years in terms of images. And I'm going to bring a few of these up to, just because when I'm doing competition, I'm really focused on composition and its meaning. Terry says, "I love seeing your face." Chelsea just got her internet back. Praise the Lord. Cheese and rice. Chelsea introduced me to that little phrase, and I love it. Cheese and rice, and for the love of carbs, you gotta love it. Anyway, thanks for being here, Chelsea. It's good to see you, sweetie. Chelsea is my VA, virtual assistant. She is in Phoenix, Arizona area, and she's actually coming here to see me in a few weeks when we launch 5cc, so that's super exciting. All right, so I want to talk to you first off about just a simple image, okay? So I'm going to open this one here. And the crop tool inside of Photoshop is actually a brilliant little tool. And I'm going to show you something extra that will help you see it in a different light, okay? So I just put on the crop tool, and I have the golden mean here selected as one of my composition styles. But when you're in the crop tool, you can go up here into this little grid and then adjust it for being the type of composition that you're using. You can see here that I am using the rule of thirds. So the rule of thirds is one of the most commonly used composition styles. And as you can see, I have used it. As a matter of fact, it's better with the matte, but sometimes it's better with matte, sometimes without. I should have cropped it. Yeah, I'm going to leave it as is to the way it was because I think that that's, hang on here. I think that that's a better representation of what I was aiming for. Um, Chelsea. Party of one. Yes, that was me. She loves to give me crap. So anyway, the rule of thirds is a probably one of the most commonly used rules of composition. And why we use it is because of where the intersections cross is called a PowerPoint. And if I go to my other composition here and show you this, a PowerPoint, I'm going to go ahead and draw. Let's see here. We're going to create a new layer. I'm just going to use my pencil tool here, and we'll just use black. That's fine. A PowerPoint is where, I'm going to try to estimate this here, is where the two lines cross. Let's see if I can actually get this without having my points. I'm going to be a little off, but that'll be the same. That'll be okay. So when you look at, oh yeah, I'm way off. You know what I'm saying though. The PowerPoints are where these lines intersect, and they are some of those powerful places to put an image or a subject of an image in your frame. So when I go back to my competition print called Her Happily Ever After, you can see that her and baby are up here in this right PowerPoint. Okay, I love all these comments. You guys are so awesome. Oh, and Eva is congratulating Beth on her platinum score success. Yes, we should all give a round of applause. Yay! Beth got a platinum medal at PPA Print Comp yesterday. So proud of her. She was one judge away from a diamond award. Yes! So good. Yes. Way to celebrate, Beth. She's so embarrassed now. But Eva, thank you for saying that because that is true. We do need to say thank you to, or congratulations to Beth today. She says thank you. I worked on some of those images for a year. It's so true. But anyway, just proud of you, Beth. You're amazing. Lorena asks, what program is that mat from? I actually made the mat myself here in Photoshop, so I will show that to you, Lorena, when we get there. Yeah, Beth said it's my own mount, but yeah. Anyway, yay, Beth! Look at all these yay, Beth! Woohoo, Beth! It's amazing. We love you. Lorena did ask, is the mounting class still available for sale? Yes, it is on jewel-education.com/shop. jewel-education.com/shop. And yes, I teach you how to do all that inside of that class. So yes, congratulations, Beth. We are so proud of you. You deserve that platinum medal. And I know a lot of our 5cc members competed for the first time and did amazing. Carla is one of those, and we will congratulate her. She got 3 merits out of 4 images. I was so proud of her as well. But anyway, we're not talking about competition necessarily today. We're talking about composition. And this applies to your images in your studio as well as the creative work you're doing for competition and fine artwork, things like that. But each one of these PowerPoints has a meaning, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But first of all, I just want you to see how I'm placing subjects in the frame to help lead the eye in a direction that is pleasing to nature. So another type of composition is the golden mean. And so I got upset with me because I didn't finish my job here. So this image uses the golden mean a little bit. Now you can see here when I put the rule of thirds on there, it doesn't really, you're like, wait a second. The subject is not really quite there. I mean, yes, she's on that line, which is better. But when I put it onto the golden mean, the golden spiral, you start to see, particularly when the image gets cropped down to its supposed size here. Now you're like, oh, the hair leads you on this spiral with the arms and the way the arms flow. You're circling into the baby. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and crop it and show you that like that, and show you it without it. Do you see how all of the lines in the image guide you around, so you want to circle around into their faces? That's partly the golden spiral that is contributing to that composition. So composition, sometimes you'll put a subject in your frame and you just want to put there because it intuitively feels good. You're like, oh, this kind of feels right, and you place it somewhere else and you're like, oh, that doesn't feel as right. Okay. And the same thing and I'm trying to show you that there's a reason why your brain wants to put an image there, and it has to do with the different ratios of composition. So let me go back to regular scheduled programming here. On my just blank layer here, when I compose something, I can the golden mean is basically a line that your eye wants to travel in to get to a subject. And this ratio is actually very popular in nature. So, for example, you'll see a snail's shell is like this, or a conch shell. Nature loves to do this pattern, outside. But also, you'll look at competition images and you'll see like a spiral staircase with a subject down here in the lower right. That is your classic golden spiral composition, okay? So be thinking about that when you work with an image. So backer saddle, or they call it triangle composition, is another popular one too. And the way you create it is by drawing a line straight through your diagonal and then starting on the points of the other diagonal and making a right angle. So your PowerPoints are right here and right here, okay? And backer saddle, again, is another really strong compositional pattern. So let's take a look at some of these other ones. You'll notice on like this one here, I use the rule of thirds more like a backer saddle composition here. You'll see it. Let's go ahead and open it. Open it up. Come on, open her up. It's not happy with me at the moment. There we go. Okay. So this is actually a flipped backer saddle composition, but you can kind of see it once I crop down. And just imagine, I might have to flip the image because in Photoshop you can't actually flip the backer saddle composition, but it's pretty darn close if you look at it from this perspective. But everything in the frame kind of leads your eye in these triangles. Do you see it? Do you see how that impact is there? And yet still, even if you did a rule of thirds composition, you can see that it kind of has that flavor as well. So let's go into that too. You can see it here. Mom and baby and the little doggy are right here on the PowerPoint, and then everything else kind of the lines lead into, and the tree frames the image. So if you look at me draw here with my pencil. So we have a leading line going down into mom here, a leading line here, a framing element here, and then the tree frames as well. So you can see all your eye is just, and then all these sheep as well are kind of drawing your eye into here. So everything within the image is compositionally designed to give you lines that make you want to go to the subject. So that's what I mean by leading lines. And then combine that with using that rule of thirds composition, and we have created an image where you're like, oh, wow, I want to look at my subject constantly. Does that make sense? So when you're creating things in nature or in your studio or outside, look for these lines. Look for leading lines where you can place your subject in the background that makes your eye go to them. Now, of course, you need to be careful about like cutting off her head with a horizon line, but because it's not really the horizon line goes up here. Like she's not being cut off. If this was sky, if I had failed to put this mountain in, her head would have been cut off and it would have looked bad. Do you see what I'm saying? So think about those things as you're designing different images. This one has the same thing. Let me crop it here. Back to its compositional elements. And again, I didn't put her quite on that rule of thirds, but it's pretty darn close. It's a little low resolution. Again, you can see where she's pretty darn close to this, this rule of thirds line. And she's actually super close to the backer saddle line, which I think is reversed on this one, but yeah, it's reversed. If we flipped it, so in other words, let me show you this with just a new layer here and a brush. Let's do a different color so you guys can actually see it. So if I just drew a line, I'm not going to do this straight because I'm using a mouse and not my Wacom. Okay, so you can see as I make a right angle, we are on the PowerPoint of that backer saddle, okay? And then down here, these little bunnies are on the PowerPoint of that other backer saddle line. So when you look at the image, your eye kind of travels between these triangles. Do you see it? We've created a triangle here and a triangle here with the trees. Make sense? So I strongly encourage you to think and actually give yourself a project where you shoot with a particular compositional style, whether that be backer saddle or just your typical rule of thirds, or if you want to try your golden mean or your exact golden ratio, which has the 2-to-3 ratio built in. So 2-to-3 is kind of that, and of course diagonal is more of a bullseye, dead center type of composition where you would put your subject either here and here or in dead center in the frame. Okay. Let me open. My husband is calling me. I can't talk right now, honey. Can't talk right now live. All right, let's look at some other images here. Let's look at last year's competition images because I want to talk to you a little bit about meaning in images. Okay, this image here is composed very, very deliberately. Let me open it. It was composed using, let me close all these. Don't save. Don't save. I love all these comments. You guys keep them coming in. I love the questions. I will go through and answer them as soon as I've got a little break here, but I love talking about composition. Okay, let me open this. Oh, shoot, it's a PSD. It'll take a minute to open, so I will. Oh, it wasn't that bad. All right, thank you. Beth put in the link to the mounting course if you guys are curious to learn about how to mount. So thank you for doing that, Beth. Thank you. Jill says it's such a beautiful image. I'm not sure which one you were talking about, but thank you. I appreciate it. And then Eva asks what the mat shape is very unique. What made you choose that shape? I'll talk about mats at the end, Eva, so don't let me forget. Terry asked if still do a course on to use the Wacom. She hasn't transitioned. Terry, you are such my odd man out. You're always the black sheep asking these questions, man. Beth says it's on the list for 5cc. Is she right? She is right. Yay, I know I'm awful. Beth, yes, you are, but we still love you. Beth can talk about competition all day long. She loves it. So anyway, let me talk about this image here. This image was done using the rule of thirds composition for the most part. So you can see that mom and baby are kind of up here in this PowerPoint. Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about meaning of PowerPoints. So PowerPoints, let me go back to my untitled one here. In the Western world, we read from left to right. Okay, so we read a book from left to right. Okay, so at the end of a book, the bottom right PowerPoint is the place of finish. It's the place of rest in an image. So this PowerPoint here is the one where we're like, oh, things are complete, things are finished. It's kind of the peaceful place. So this is where you will see me put a lot of newborn babies. I almost always put them over here on the lower right PowerPoint. The upper right PowerPoint is a feeling of hanging in the balance. It's like, even just this right side, excuse me. Let me draw on my image one more time here. This right side of the frame, it's over here on this side. So things feel finished over here. They feel complete when you put a subject over there. When you put a subject on your left side over here and remove this right side, all of a sudden the subject feels like, oh, wait a second. We have what's going on over here on the right. Like, it feels unfinished. It feels like my eye can keep going over there because I read from left to right. So my eye wants to keep going over there just naturally because of the way I was taught to read as a child. So putting things over here on the left side kind of creates that feeling of unbalance and like what's going to happen next. So I will place my UPS guy just came in. Thank you. I will place subjects on the left that have like an uncertain future, or they don't know. Like, maybe I had an image once where I had an adopted child sitting on a bench, or it was called foster child, and she was hugging a little doll. This was my first loan image back in 2009. I don't even know where that is right now. I mean, people will probably ask me, can we see it? We want to see it. Sorry, I don't know where it is. I have to look for it. But anyway, she was sitting on the left side of the frame because her future was very uncertain. And the title was Foster Child. And I made the image have a story simply by placing her on the left side of the frame. Okay. When I put someone on the right side of the frame, now it's like, okay, my eye stops right where they are. I am forced to stay in the image because the subject is on the right side of the frame. You'll notice I put my subjects on the right side of the frame a lot. Only in certain situations will I put them on the left. This image is called Sold in the South. It is a very controversial image, but it's also a image that I felt needed to be talked about, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement going on and the fact that, we are still dealing with this in our society nowadays. And I wanted her future to be uncertain, and yet I wanted to portray the innocence of her with the little kitten, with the light being snuffed out, the tears in her eyes. This image, some people love this image and some people hate it, and they are very disturbed by it. So I apologize if you're one of those people, but this was one of those images where I put her on this left side of the frame because I wanted her future to be uncertain. And yet I wanted to portray the innocence that she still has and always does have because she's a child in the South of colored skin who was required to work without wanting to. Okay, so that is why I put her on the left side. I wanted that feeling of uncertainty. So let me open it for you and I'll flip it and you can see how different it feels flipped. Let me open it here, lots of layers, hang on. Okay, so here's the image. Now I'm going to flip it and I want you to feel the difference. Look at the difference. It feels much more calm with her on the right, doesn't it? It's still a powerful image, but it feels more like finished, like complete, like the feeling of the end. Whereas when I put it back to here, you have this uncertain feeling because there's this empty space over here on the right. It is yes, it feels, Jamie made a good point. She goes, it feels more hopeful when it's on the right. When it's here, it feels more hopeful. When it's over here, it feels like, oh my God, this is not ending well. And that's exactly the power of composition. Now, do we as viewers, as someone who's just viewing the image, you don't really think about that. It just gives you a feeling. It's very subconscious. But I'm hoping that by bringing this to light, you start to go, oh, wow, yes, okay? Now, on the other hand, this image here, if I had flipped it, it was called the trap of postpartum depression. I wanted her to feel stuck, like she was on that ceiling and not going anywhere. Had I flipped the image, it feels a little different, doesn't it? It feels like, oh, she could get out of it. I mean, it still has a similar feeling, but it's more powerful to when she's on the right because it feels like you're stopped right there. You're not going to go anywhere as a viewer. Your eye is forced to go clockwise around that image, and you always land on that baby. And being in that upper right PowerPoint, it has not only is she hanging from the ceiling, but I accentuated that by putting her in that upper right PowerPoint. So say, for example, had I cropped this and made the ceiling super tall, so let's just do that for a second. It'll feel a little weird because I'm not going to edit it like this. I just want you to feel it. I'm going to put in a darker layer down here. So let's just call it that for a second. Put that down at the bottom. It wants me to shoot. Hang on. Select. I didn't pay attention to what I was doing. Let's do something here real quick. Delete. And then deselect. We're going to change that color to be more this color. Dark, 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 dark. It's not really working, but you get my drift. So what if I had put her down low and left all this ceiling above? It wouldn't have the same impact because she's down here in the lower right. Does that make sense? So I'm trying to give you a feel for this without actually doing it, but you get my drift, my meaning. By putting her up here in the upper right, she's hanging in the balance. And that's what I wanted to explain to you with these PowerPoints is that the PowerPoints have meaning. So when I put someone up here in this upper right corner, I'm definitely kind of making her up here in the upper right, and she's hanging in the balance like it's not a settled image. Over here, it's even worse. It's like, oh my gosh, not only are you hanging in the balance like uncomfortable, but also your future is unknown. We don't know what's going to happen with you, right? Whereas when I put the foster child over here on the left, she's settled at the bottom, complete, but her future is unknown. Does that make sense? So I just want you to be thinking about images and how they correlate to meaning. So this one here is another good one. I put her over on the right to keep you in frame. Okay, it's taking a while to open because these are all layered files. Sorry. Okay, so this one here, again, PowerPoint. Oh, let me make a new layer here, Jules. Make a new layer. Brush tool, new layer. Make sure I'm not doing anything stupid. Okay, so again, PowerPoints. I put her in the upper right because she's in trouble. This image is called sheer mischief. Okay, this little girl is about to literally start. She's gonna cut her hair, isn't she? I mean, obviously she's cutting a string, but she is giving me that expression like, oh, I just got caught doing something, right? So again, she's been sitting there for a while. This is classic parental, like, oh, oops, the spider's down here. I have literally not been paying attention to my child and she got into trouble. Okay. Again, subject is over here on the right to give a sense of completeness and to keep you in the frame. But she's in that upper right corner to give you a sense of, oh, we're in trouble, like, a little uncomfortable. Okay. So very deliberate composition. Obviously, the light post was put on one of these thirds, and everything was placed in the frame to keep your eye on her. And of course, lighting and shadow was placed in. The lighting was put in place to make you go to her first. She is the brightest part of the image. So when you shrink her down small like this, you go, oh, yep, I see the subject. It's the first thing my eye goes to. Let's flip it and see what it looks like. It's going to take a minute because I have so many layers here. My comp images. See how it doesn't quite feel as you want to come out of frame. Like your eye doesn't stay on her. It wanders up here. And that's because of the use of composition and how by putting her on that right third line, I'm stopping your eye from traveling, and then using those PowerPoints for different meaning, it's having that impact. Okay. Same thing with this image here. This image here is called, what did I call this one? Shoot, I forgot. Dagnabbit. High risk pregnancy. And this was inspired by another artist, but you can see, she's ultrasound on the page. But again, we have your composition. You are stopped over here on the right, and the twigs and sticks lead you up into frame, and then you circle around her and down and realize she's balancing precariously on a bunch of medical textbooks. And, she's, again, hanging in the balance, barely hanging on because her pregnancy is so delicate. If she stood up, she would crumble. Okay. So, and then of course this is final. Yeah, this is final. Ah, this is Maddie. This is best daughter. This uses more of a circular golden mean composition. Do you see it? So let me show you. Your eye is led around the elements. See it? Okay. You are guided in a circle to look at the subject. Does that make sense? The golden mean is in use here, or the golden spiral, I should say. And then your eye is that circle or spiral is created by using the elements in the frame to make your eye go to the subject. Everybody's looking down at her or looking up at her. Make sense? So yes, this was composited. I used a giraffe that was about 6 inches tall. It was just about as tall as this guy down here. These are all fake animals. They are not real. They are toys that I bought from the toy store and then photoshopped to make look real. So yeah, this is Maddie. If you guys want to see the raw, I can show you the raws. And then the title of this, these were much larger. I shrunk them down. The title of this is Imagination Interrupted. So she's reading a book, and all the animals are coming in her imagination, and we are interrupting her by looking at her. So yeah, I can show you how I. Let's see, where is that one? Da, 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 da. Where is there? It is. So this is the raw file that I used to create it. And of course, she was shot like this, and then everything was flipped, and the giraffe was obviously very much done differently. It was head swapped and highly manipulated to get that large, and then painted to. But this is the raw file. So we went from this to this. Make sense? Okay. So let's move on here. I kind of have covered most of this. I wonder if there's anything else that you guys want to see here. I know it's fun to look at. It's fun to look at images. Final digitals. There we go. Yep, and this is my son. This is an example of pretty much dead center bullseye composition, where he is in the middle and then the subject, it's that diamond composition. So it's not an exact representation, but let me open it for you. You guys can see what I'm talking about here. So in this case, I am using more of this style of composition, where he is dead center and then the subject matter is below him. So do you see how this frames it out? It's pretty much bullseye composition, but that should give you an idea of how you would use this style of composition to create interest. So a PowerPoint here and a PowerPoint down here, and all the lines lead to that PowerPoint. Make sense? All right. Let's see. I'm going to take some questions here. Rosalinda said, Julia, I didn't know we can flip our images. So once I create a pic, I can actually flip an image. How exciting. Yes, you can. Isn't that fabulous? It's awesome. And you should use that to your advantage in creating images. It's so fun. Now, be careful when you do it with people, because sometimes not everybody has a perfectly symmetrical face. So sometimes if you flip someone, they'll look a little bit different than they know themselves as. So just watch that you don't do it too much with people who are recognizable. I do it in competition all the time because it doesn't really matter it doesn't really matter in competition what the subject looks like. It's not like a real representation of them that you're going to put on their wall, if that makes sense. All right, here, let's see. Lorena asks, do you recommend a course on composition or PowerPoints? There was a great book called, I think it's out of print. It's called, you might be able to get an old copy of it. Composition for artists. I'll look it up and post it in the group. I don't remember the exact name, but I'll see if I can find one for you. Rosalinda asks, Julia, when you say you bought those animals from a toy store, what do you mean? You took a pic of your toy and then inserted it into the image? I hope I explained that to you with the raw file. But yeah, I took, just to show you one more time, where is it here? These are all fake. They're little fake toys. Can you see the giraffe here? Over here on the lower left, let me remove your comment, and maybe you'll see that there. This little guy right down here, that's just a toy giraffe. They're all toys. And see how I wired them into her hair so they looked like they were flying? I relocated them a little bit, but yeah, this is just a toy little that you get from the store. It's fun. All right. Let's see. Beth says there is a preparing print competition class that Michelle Parsley has on her website. She posted the link in there. I highly recommend it too. Michelle Parsley's class on competition is great. Terry says, I want to get into competitions this year. I just don't think I'm good enough. You know what? It'll make you better. If you don't think you're good enough, you just need to start doing it. You have to remember, I've been competing since 2009. So that's 10 years, 11 years of doing this. So my images have gotten better and better and better every year. Some of my first stuff was really weak. But that's the whole point, is that competition teaches you to see and it teaches you to get better. And then, of course, that translates into your client work as well. Deborah says, beautiful, love the giraffe. He's so cute, isn't he? All right, let's see. Carla said, I used a center composition this year for PPA, and they did well, but so did the rule of thirds to the right. And you know what, Carla, it doesn't, you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter, like, which composition method you use, as long as you're just deliberately composing things with that in mind. Don't just willy-nilly it. I want you to think through it. It's all about designing your images to be the best they can be. Let's see. Carla says, Terry, go for it. I did this year for the first time. It was really fun and exciting. Carla did it for the first time, and she got 3 out of 4 merits, which is awesome. Awesome results. She's been working on it. She's been learning how to edit, and she's been shooting for it, and I highly recommend that. And Carla's work has doubled in quality since she first started doing this and learning and developing that technique for competition. So let's see, the high risk. Let me show you no, not high risk. Let's see, where is it? Postpartum depression. This is the raw files. You guys, everybody loves to see these raw files. Of this, I don't know which one I actually used. Where is it? Let's look at. There we go. These are the finals I used. So this image was shot horizontal. So just to give you an idea, it was shot like that. Okay? Because the WPPI, in certain categories, you have to shoot everything in camera. You can support things, but it has to be the original intent of the image. So this was the original intent, and this is a wig. It's not her hair, and we used glue to get the wig to do this. I had to prop it up a little bit, but for the most part, it stuck out like that to create that illusion. You can see there's little wires attached to everything here that held her dress up, that made it look like she was hanging. Of course, the table was up on a tripod, and the milk and everything were stuck to the table with glue, super glue. And then, of course, it was simply flipped and then flipped again to give the final result. So I ended up flipping her again to put her on that right side of the frame to give me the final result. So something like this. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Anything else you guys want to see? Let's look. This is the raw file for Trusted Sanctuary. This is the little girl I photographed. This was using my Oliphant background and some fake birdies. And this is the final results. It's tough because it's lower in, here, they're side by side right here. So, no, let's not do that. This is straight out of camera, and then this is the final result. Birdie's tail was popped up a little bit. The child was formed better. The lighting was improved with dodge and burn. And this one, I think, won 3rd place in the WPPI children's competition. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of editing that goes into competition images, and the composition is thought through very heavily as well. Okay? All right, let's see here. Anything else that's exciting to show? Not really. Sheer Mischief. This is the raw file. So yeah, that's the raw file in camera, and then this is the file. That's the PPA version. In WPPI, I'm not allowed to add the candles. So in WPPI, I had to show it as is, which was with the spider, because the spider was in the frame in the raw. You can see the spider right there. Okay, and it's just a fake spider. Halloween, you guys, go shopping at Hobby Lobby the day after Halloween. There are so many amazing props on sale, and I use them all the time in my competition images. It's so much fun. So much fun. All right, let's see here. Everyone's having conversation. I love it. Beth says, I feel a smackdown coming during 5cc wine night for those saying they aren't good enough. You are so right, Beth. Speaking of which, for those of you who are in 5cc, tomorrow is wine night. Our mastermind membership, 5 Carat Collective, every month we have a social night via Zoom. It started during COVID, during quarantine, and it has become a 5cc tradition that we will never give up. and we all get together on Zoom, basically all of our cameras up, and we drink wine and have fun and get smackdowns. And sometimes the conversation goes to business, sometimes it goes to our kids, sometimes it goes to like the meme we saw on Facebook. It's just anything goes. And yes, you are right, Beth. We will be having a smackdown for those of them who do not think they're good enough because they can all do it. MacGyver competition skills. Thank you, Becky. I've been doing it a long time, a long time. Darius says, hello, everyone. I have to say, great work. Thank you very much for that, Darius. I appreciate it. Terry says she has no Hobby Lobby. Michael's works too. Joanne's, all those places have those props. Thursday, not tomorrow. Thank you, Beth. She keeps me on track. Lorena says, which completions do you recommend for beginners? Competitions. I would recommend going to your state guild. Your PPA state guild is a great place to start. NAPCP, if you like doing kids and families. Also, ANPI, what is it? ANPI, yes, is another great one. Association of Newborn Professional, I think it is. Yeah, Carla's teasing me. She goes, you're skipping a day, Julia. It's because I really want it to be Friday because I want to move into my house. I'm trying to make time go faster. Come on, go. Becky says, I'm so ready to see everyone tomorrow night, and I will be ready for SmackDown. Good, Becky. You're getting it. You just asked for it. It's a Halloween wine night. Yes, everybody come in your costumes. We should totally make it a costume night. I got to come up with something in the next 2 days. Terry says, I will try to be on there. I know I have been absent. Yes, you have, Terry, and you're asking for a SmackDown by saying that. We're going to give you one if you show up tomorrow. But yeah, Lorena, I would suggest ANPI, NAPCP, your local PPA state guild. So whatever state you're in, they'll probably have a local PPA affiliate. Your state competition with them is great. Go on to printcompetition.com. There's a bunch of different state competitions that happen there as well. And you can actually, even if you're not a member of another state guild, you can enter their competitions just to get feedback on your images. And watch those competitions. You can watch them for free live, or it's like $20 a quarter to be a member, and you can go back and watch all the recorded archives of what the judges say. As a matter of fact, if you're a member of PPA, IPC competition is going on right now. You can log in at thestream.theipc.org. And if you're a member, you can log in and watch competition, and that's incredibly valuable too. I love this. Terry says, Beth, I need to pick your brain on where I should start for next season. Love it. Come to wine night, Terry. We are moving in 10 days. Nice, Terry. I knew mine was in 10 days. Lorena says she's in Phoenix. Yes, Phoenix does have a local PPA guild. Definitely talk to them, Lorena. It's a great place to go. Allison says she can actually come to wine night this week. Woohoo! I love it. Lavina says, if I can make it, I will be her first one. You need to come, Lavana. It's Lavana, right? Am I getting that right? But I don't drink wine, just water. Carla doesn't drink either. She's always the sober one, the DD. So we make her host when we go crazy. Yes, awesome. Thank you for that. The stream, theipc.org. If you want to watch print competition right now, it's actually going on at this moment. Or are they wrapped up for the day? Beth says they're wrapped up for the day. Okay. Becky says we need a competition list in 5cc to keep everyone thinking that way. I agree. I can't agree more. Becky, you can post that if you want. And we do have an actual competition group, a separate group inside 5 Carat Collective. So folks can post things having to do with competition there. Yes, Beth says go to printcompetition.com to see all the guilds that have competitions. Great idea, Beth. You're awesome. But anyway, I think the biggest take home from today I really want people to recognize is that composition is a critical part of your images. And, your images are a critical part of your business. And this whole Facebook group and this 25 Days of Design is about making a beautiful business because it matters. You will attract the right kind of client into your door when you actually do make your business beautiful and when you make your images beautiful. And when you're preconceiving this and thinking through composition, that's when your images are going to get nothing but better. So I strongly encourage you to look at different composition, practice flipping your images, see what looks better, use the cropping tool in Photoshop and that drop down on the different types of composition and challenge yourself. Maybe this week, go out and say, I'm going to shoot the golden spiral today. So I'm going to look for things that create that spiral motion so that I can practice that intentionally, if you know what I mean. Um, so we have our 5-day challenge coming up. It is the 5 days to a perfected product line. I am going to launch signups for that right after this broadcast. So stay tuned to the Facebook group. You can sign up for the challenge. It'll be 5 days of getting your product line set and in place for 2021. I have been, as a matter of fact, I was on with my 5CC members this morning. They were gracious enough to help walk me through this. And we have got the outline and structure for this challenge so good. And I'm so excited to bring it to you. Each day, we're going to be taking baby steps to building a product line. And by the end of the 5 days, you are going to be ready to shoot for your product line and order your samples for the upcoming year. And then, of course, we're going to launch into a webinar following that and get you started on pricing that and combining everything so your clients want to spend more and your averages climb higher. I can say it's been so fun to see my students in 5CC really kill it this year, even in the middle of COVID. I'm so incredibly proud of you all. People like Evelyn have gone from like a $300 average to now a $1,000 average in the middle of a pandemic. Amy has completely rebranded her studio and everything looks amazing. She's so busy she can't think straight. It's kind of funny because now she's complaining about having too many clients, and I love that. First world problems, right, Amy? Carla's work has done incredible, and she's now winning in competition. And it's just such a joy to see you guys just excel and do amazing things because of the mastermind. So, yeah, now we want everyone else to get a taste of that too. So, sign up for the 5 days to perfected product line challenge. That's coming up November 2nd through 7th, a good distraction from the election. We all need it. And it'll get you focused and in a positive direction when the rest of the world is going crazy, right? So anyway, thank you for joining me today. It was a long one today, but that's okay. I didn't expect it to be this long, but I love it with so many questions and so many great comments. I just love it. Terry said, "Thank you, Julia, for everything you have done for my business. I love you so much, Terry. You are one of my shining stars. It's just been such an honor to see your work go in amazing places. I mean, you are better than me when it comes to newborns. Like you've taken off, and it's so fun to see that. It really is. So, Carla said she had clients Friday, so I need to behave. Oh, you just asked for it, girlfriend. Wine night is coming your way. Yes, Deborah asks, are we still doing the product challenge? Yes, like I said, it starts November 2nd. Signups will start today. So watch the Facebook group. I'm going to be posting a link in there to sign up for it. So you'll get all the worksheets, the workbook, and all that coming your way when we do start. So Cyantan, I'm so sorry I hashed your name, buddy. Much love from India, Mom. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love seeing everyone from different places. It's just so cool. So anyway, we'll talk more about 5CC. We'll talk more about the product challenge. I will post the link to sign up today. So get on it and do it and share it with your friends if you don't mind. If you have friends whom you know might need to develop a product line for next year, maybe we're going to talk to both the beginners and advanced. So maybe you've been doing digital for a while and you need to build a whole product line because you want to switch to a tangible product model. Maybe you want to do both digital and product model. Even if you just want to do a digital model only, the product challenge is for you because it's going to get you thinking about your business and what you can offer with your digital files that will help improve and get clients to want more. And that's the whole point. The product challenge is designed to get your clients to want more out of working with you than just getting an electronic file format. And those of you who are advanced, maybe some things are selling or not selling, and you want to replace some things, create a more unique product line, a more branded product line. The product challenge is going to be for you as well. I'm going to address both beginners, what to do, and advanced people, how to revamp it and make it work. Yeah, Becky says, love revamping my product line and thinking through it with everyone. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm so excited. Eva says, I need to work on my product line. I love it. Eva, come join us. And Deborah says, thank you. I love that you are involved in creating art and business. It has to be both, Eva, or Deborah. Sorry about that. I get my names embarrassing. Sorry, Deborah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's so important. You have to run a business, but it has to be beautiful too. And that's what we all want. I think we all want a beautiful business that attracts our ideal client. So having a beautiful business matters a ton. And it's something that we can be proud of as artists. And the business is an art just as much as our work is, right? Terry says, I can't wait for the product challenge. My vendor isn't doing well. Oh, I know. That's another thing to consider, Terry. I've got lots of vendors who are on the brink. And we either need to support them, or if they are on the brink and they're going to shut down anyway, we need to look at different options. Things are changing in this market, and it's important to keep abreast of those changes and know where the next surge is going to be. All right. Beth says product is so important to help you stand out from the competition. Oh my gosh, you made another point, Beth, that I didn't even bring up. Yes, even if you are digital and you want to produce a product line, it's going to make you different from the competition. And then, of course, it's about marketing that difference. Excuse me. And we're going to talk specifically about how to sell to the client the words you need to use that will help them understand why they should print with you rather than on their own. Because there is a difference. We all know it. And selling that service and using those words to convey that quality is a really important thing. Okay. Amen. Deborah says, I love it. Yeah. We need a little celebration for that. Cheesy. Yes, I know. But so fun, right? Allison says, yay, I want to tighten up a few things with my product line, so I'm super excited for the challenge. Thanks for hosting it. You are so welcome. It's going to be a lot of fun. I need to do it too for 2021, so we're all just getting stuff done together. Becky says, same here. All right, you guys, I could talk to you all afternoon. I love Mastermind. I love this, and this is what we do all the time in 5CC. So anyway, okay, love to you all. Thank you for watching. You can watch the rebroadcast, and again, sign up for the product challenge. I'll post the link here in the next hour after I have lunch, okay? Love to you all. Bye-bye.